Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about something that one of my lovely subscribers brought to my attention when it comes to the diagnosis code Z3A. And she was just telling me that her book does not have the same icons that my book does, or indicators, whichever one you want to call them. So you guys can see here where my book has the UPD saying that it's unacceptable to be a primary diagnosis code. And her book doesn't have that. So I was like, really? Like, are you sure you don't have maybe like a red X? Maybe your indicator's different than mine. And I knew I had another ICD-10 book. So I was like, well, let me see if maybe in that book it tells you something else. Like maybe you have to look somewhere else in this area. But as you guys can see here, mine tells me that I cannot use it as the primary diagnosis code. So I'm going to pull up my other ICD-10 book. So the one that we were just looking at was from Optum. And then this one is by Decision Health. So I'm going to flip through and we're going to get to the Z3A section. I have these cute little paper clips. I will link them for anybody that's going to ask where I got them from. I saw somebody else with them on YouTube and I had to have them. So if you're like me, impulse buying, then there you go. And excuse my crinkled up book. My 2-year-old likes to flip through my coding books and some pages are ripped, some pages are wrinkled. It is what it is. So here we are at Z3A, weeks of gestation. I have some notes and some code first, but I do not have any icons telling me that this is not a primary diagnosis code. So I was like, oh my gosh, how would anybody know if they don't have the book that I have? So I was like, where else would they say that this code should not be a primary diagnosis code? So I was like, well, maybe we'll have to look in the guidelines, because as you guys can see, the only icons that I have are for female and maternity. So I'm just going to flip back to my guidelines and we're going to be looking in section 1. I'll show you guys. I did want to stop here in the beginning of the chapter 21 because sometimes I'll have just a little bit of guidelines. Hang on, my 2-year-old is like destroying this thing and it's irritating me. I swear, as soon as you want to film, everybody just has to start acting up. But yeah, I didn't have any guidelines here. So I am going to go to the front and we are going to be under section 1. You guys see section 2 starting right there. So obviously we're going to be a little bit before that. So it would be section 1. And I'm going to pull it up in my other book at the in the Optum one, because everybody's guidelines should be exactly the same. So I'm just going to walk through and show you guys exactly where I am. So section 2 starts there. So you want to make sure you are in section 1. And I'm just going to flip through to show you where section 1 starts. Okay, right here is section 1 under conventions, general coding guidelines, and chapter specific guidelines. So underneath the section 1, chapter specific, you will flip through until you get to chapter 21. So we're just going to keep going. And chapter 21 is our Z codes. So you'll just flip through until you get to chapter 21, as you can see. And then we are going to go to number 11. So I'm going to keep turning. I just wanted to walk through so you guys knew exactly where I was. So here, encounters for obstetrical and reproductive services. So I'm going to zoom in here so we can all see the same thing. When it comes to codes in category Z3A, weeks of gestation, it says may be assigned to provide additional information about the pregnancy. Z3A codes should not be assigned for pregnancies with abortive outcomes. And then it tells us the code range for those, and then also elective terminations of pregnancies, and so on and so forth. Nothing else about it not being a primary diagnosis code, right? And I'm just going to flip through on number 11 in my other book and show you guys that we have the exact same information. Codes in category Z3A may be assigned to provide additional information. So if they're telling us it's used to provide additional information, I guess we can assume that it wouldn't be a primary diagnosis code. But then I also found underneath number 16, where it says Z codes that may only be principal and first listed diagnosis codes. Guess what Z code is not listed here? Z3A. So I guess for my Optum book, it already has it to show us that this Z code is not listed in one of the primary diagnosis code under the Z codes category. So you guys should have the exact same codes in your coding guidelines. Z3A is not listed. So I guess you can go back if your book doesn't have it and just like write a little note saying to yourself, this should not be a primary diagnosis code, or this should not be first listed. You can do your own little icon, highlight it, whatever you have to do. That's how my book has become what it's become. I learned things along the way, and I just write these things down. So feel free to do the same. I hope this video was helpful. It's short and sweet. I do have another one coming where we're going to be talking about OB antepartum care billing, because I did have another person reach out to me and ask me if I can explain that, because it can be a little bit confusing, especially dealing with other insurances and stuff like that. So I will have a video coming to explain how I code those, because to me it's very simple, but when you're new, it's kind of like, what am I supposed to do? So stay tuned for that video. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye guys.